Hey everyone, my name is Jeremy McLerran. I'm Director of Marketing for Qolsys, and today we're going to be installing the IQ Classic Kit. The IQ Classic Kit includes the IQ panel, 3 mini door window sensors, and the IQ Motion. It'll be very easy to install. We're going to show you how to do it right now. First, I open it up, pull out my IQ panel. In the very top, you'll see a top screw here. This screw is what we need to use to get the back plate off. I'm going to use a micro screwdriver to do that. Make sure you don't lose that screw. Once you've got it out, set it aside. Then I like to grab inside here, pull the back plate off, and voila, now I can mount this to the wall. Now you could choose to do the table stand and wire kit that's sold separately. That's a very easy situation, and it's great for putting it on a counter, tabletop, etc. But in this case, we're going to do a wall mount installation. Now, I've already run the wire for my wall mount installation, just to make things easy and speed along. I put a gang box here, and I've got the wire sticking out here, and it goes down to this plug, where I've got the other side of the wire here. And again, we'll be dealing with all that here in just a minute. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my screw into the back plate. Oh, run this through the hole there. Got screws in my mouth. Now you don't have to use an existing gang box. Most of you probably won't have one in your install. You could go directly into the drywall. Just make sure you're covering up your hole. But in this case, since I have a gang box here, I'm going to use that bottom screw for that. Next, I want to make sure that I'm level. So, looks pretty good there. And I'm going to put in my top screws to hold everything in place. Now you are probably going to use a drill, which will make things a lot faster than what I'm doing. Should speed up your process. But I'm fast with a hand screwdriver, so you might not be that much faster. I saw it wiggle just a little bit. I want to double check that I'm still level. Yep, still look good. So you could shave some valuable seconds off your install by using a drill to zip these in. But it obviously works just fine this way too. Okay, next. I've got my IQ panel. This has got its hanging strap. I could put that right there to work and give me a free hand while I'm screwing these wires in. What I also want to do is make sure that I match up the right terminals. So there's one wire that has a gray dash on it, the other one does not. I'm going to use the gray dash for my negative wire. And be sure not to mix those up on your power supply when you're installing that. Okay, so I got that wire installed. Okay, give it a little tug, make sure it's good. All right, next I'm going to go ahead and, well, actually let's put in the power supply. I'm going to grab my power supply out of my box. Okay, now you'll notice on this little clip thing, you can peel this off, and this is what sticks to your wall plate. Once I get that wall plate on there, you'll also notice that there's a screw hole lined up there. If you're using a Decora, you'd flip that. But I'm going to use this and the screw that's provided in the little bag. Okay, this is a longer screw, and this will help mount this to the wall in the right place. This also helps keep this secure so that kids or whoever don't come along and peel it off. So remember, we use the dash line. In this case, the dash line is red for my negative. So I'm going to put this on here, tighten that up. Okay, and then the white, the clear one, was there. Now you can use whichever one you want. If you've got specific ways you can do it, that's just the one I did. I just got to make sure that I always match negative to negative on the panel and positive to positive on the panel. So I pop this in here, voila, and then I take my zip tie. Oh, the wrong one, just a random one. Okay, take my zip tie, tuck it through. And then it also goes through here and secures in place. Okay? Now this is making sure that it doesn't accidentally get pulled out. And then, of course, you can always just trim off the excess with a pair of scissors or something like that. Okay? So, next we want to plug in the battery of our IQ panel. Plug that right in there. Okay? And now that the battery's plugged in, I can flip the panel up and put it in place. It's clicked in place. I'm going to use the top screw to secure it so it doesn't fall off the wall. Let me come look at this. Okay? Dropping it right down in there. And I'm going to screw it in. Push it forward a little bit to screw it in. Voila. Now you'll see that it's powering up. You got red lights here, that means it's powering up. I'm going to wait for it to fully power up before I use it. While I'm doing that, I'm going to prep the rest of my sensors. So I've got a motion sensor here. I'm going to pull this out. Motion sensor comes with instructions, as well as 2 screws. Okay. I've also got door window sensors. Okay, there's the door window sensor, and there is the magnet and the adhesive. Okay, I'm going to kind of keep everything clean by throwing things back in my box so it'll be easy for me to take with me when I'm done. Okay, with each of these door window sensors, I'm going to pull the adhesive out of the bag and apply it to the back of the sensor. Now you'll notice on the back of these sensors, there's kind of a little cutout here. See, this is the tamper switch. If you chose to install it with the tamper switch, you could put a little screw in that. Most people aren't going to bother with that. You're certainly welcome to do so if you want some extra protection. It makes it so that if you pull the sensor off the wall, that it will send a tamper signal. Okay, I've got my little adhesive here for my magnet. I'm going to apply that onto there. Okay, rub it in there nice and good. And we'll repeat that process with each of those door sensors. Now another thing too with the motion sensor, as we're talking about the motion sensor, if I push the bottom of this, it goes like this, push the bottom of this and pull this off, lift that off, you'll notice that there's several mounting holes. Whoop, several mounting holes here. If I'm corner mounting it, I want to use the corner holes, okay? If I'm flat mounting it, I use these holes. Now, depending on whether you want to do it pet sensitive or non-pet sensitive will determine whether you use the upper holes or the lower holes, because you can see the back is kind of curved there. Okay? Now we're installing this here in our office, so we don't need pet sensitivity, so we'll be making sure that we point it downward just a bit. Okay, take those out, and again I am going to peel off the adhesive. This is, surprisingly enough, this is actually one of the longer parts of the installation process. Putting adhesive on the backs of sensors. I gotta tell you, if that's the longest and hardest part of your install, you're doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. And that on there. Voila, that's number 2. And our third, woo. Those magnets are very powerful. We use rare earth magnets in our door window sensors, our mini door window sensors, which gives us a really nice wide gap. These sensors, you know, one of the notorious challenges of a door sensor is fitting on all sorts of doors, all sorts of molding. In fact, we've got one particular installation that'll be a little bit of a challenge that normally a sensor wouldn't work on it, but ours will, and we'll show you how that goes. So again, a rare earth magnet gives you a gap that's as much as an inch, which again, in the industry is pretty awesome. There's certainly other ways to do it. You could hardwire the line into it and use one of our extended sensors or something like that. In this case, the classic kit comes with the mini sensors, so we're just gonna use those. And we'll show you how to. Okay, so everything's all prepped. Let's go back to our IQ panel. So in here, the very first thing we want to do is we want to run a cell test. So I'm going to go into settings. Okay, there's no Wi-Fi access. Check your Wi-Fi connection. We can do that in a moment. I'm going to go to system tests, and I'm going to go to cellular test. I'm going to start a cellular test. Okay. It says cellular radio test started. Please wait. It'll take a moment to process. Once that cellular connection goes up to the cloud, it will then process through the way it should and come back. Oh. Okay. So next I'm going to go into my Wi-Fi, go into installation. Oh, sorry, no, back up. System settings, and then wireless settings. My Wi-Fi is on. I want to select Qolsys. In this case, we've got a little network here set up. Okay, I'm going to connect my Wi-Fi. It's authenticating. And it's connected. Okay, next I want to make sure that my dual path is running. So I go into dual path. Dual path is the panel's ability to do both Wi-Fi and cellular simultaneously, and the panel intelligently knows which pathway to use and will send signals the appropriate way. So I'm going to start that dual path test. It's then going to test those pathways and make sure that everything's working, make sure they can go. Everything's all communicating properly. So we're good there. Next, it's time to check for updates. So I'm going to go into installation, upgrade software, and I'm going to do upgrade using network. It's going to check for updates and then download any that are available. No upgrade available, so we're good to continue. I go back, I'm going to go into security sensors, so I'm still in installation. I go into security sensors and I'm going to auto learn a sensor. Okay? Now auto learning a sensor is when you open and close a sensor, or in this case, I can pull out the battery tabs. Okay? 460880, I want to make sure that matches up. I click OK. Okay? This is a door window sensor. It only gives me door window sensor names, sensor groups, things like that. I'm going to put this on my front door, and I'm going to click Add New. Okay? Very done. No loops to add, no configuration, things like that. I mean, obviously, if you want to customize the chime, you certainly can. Cancel that for a minute. Okay? So now we're going to install this door sensor. So I've got a tricky little situation here. You can see how high this molding is. Okay? But with an expanded gap from the rare earth magnet, I should still be okay. So I'm going to put this sensor on the edge of the door, push that into place. Okay? I'm going to take the magnet and I'm going to put it right there, right on the very edge, and voila. Totally works. Okay? Next. I mean, you can see that's a pretty wide gap, but it still works because of the rare earth magnet. Okay? Now let's learn in our second sensor. Okay? The other thing you can do with a sensor like this is you can actually learn it in by DL code. Okay? I want to see which one this is. Is that 3? I put my adhesive on so I can't see my DL codes. Four, 6, 6, 1, 1, 2, which is the one that we just did. So I'm going to go to Edit Sensor. I did the 466080. Okay? So I got that one. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to use the DL code instead. Okay, so the DL code's found on the box. I'm going to go to Add Sensor. My sensor ID is 112.4A3. Okay, I click Done. Now this isn't the front door. We're going to call this a custom description. We're going to put this on the refrigerator. Refrigerator. Okay, I click Done, and my sensor group, instead of an entry exit. We're going to call it a local safety sensor. Now, whenever you open or close the refrigerator, it will chime. Okay?
Sensor added successfully.
So now let's go put this on the refrigerator. Now this will allow me to know if the refrigerator's been left open. I can create a rule that says, when refrigerator left open, send me a text message. So I'll never have to worry about the food spoiling. Again, I just take this and I'll look at the sensor. See there's a little triangle right there? That triangle is where the read switch is. That's what needs to match up with the sensor. So I put that here. Put the other one right here. And voila, I'm done. Okay, let's do our third sensor. So on this one, we're just going to do, this one, what we'll do is we'll do what's called a tamper. So the third way you can learn one in is you can tamper it. Now I'm going to turn off open close reports to allow auto learning so you can see how this works. I'm going to auto learn the sensor, pull these things out.
Refrigerator open.
Okay.
Refrigerator temper.
This is the one we did as so when we manually entered that number, this is the one we did as the refrigerator. Okay, not a problem. We're gonna go to egg.
Refrigerator closed.
Yep, it's closed. Okay, so I'm gonna call this, instead of refrigerator, we're gonna call this conference room. Okay, and I click save. Okay, so this is the conference room one. So it was one of the drawbacks of putting the adhesive on first. I couldn't read the DL code. There it is right there. Yeah, the 112. That's exactly right. So I'm going to put this, come on in here. Here's my conference room door. And now I want to know when someone gets into the conference room. So I put the sensor on here. Okay, and again, take my magnet. Even with this one, this door has still got a pretty wide gap, but it still can reach it. Okay, so come on through here. Now the other thing we're going to do is we're going to tamper that other. So I'm going to auto learn sensor. Now let's go tamper the refrigerator. So this is the third way you can learn in a sensor is by tampering. And I press this little button in here to release it. You could hear the sound. Maybe you can hear it on the thing. But by tampering, that little tamper switch right there is now triggered. And it knows sensor blah, blah, blah is requesting to be added to your list. Do you want to continue? I click OK. And this is the one that we'll name refrigerator. On-screen keyboard is so nice. I'm going to do that also as a local safety sensor. Click Add New, and I'm done with that. Now it's time for the motion sensor. Okay? So I've got my motion sensor here. It already knows because I just popped off the back. Let's make sure that DL code matches up. F8, this DL code is C0, so I hit cancel. This is not the right DL code. Okay? Oh, of course it's not going to work because I don't have my battery tab pulled out. So I pull out the battery tab, hold that little tamper switch. There it goes, C07, make sure it matches up. Click OK. And in this case, it's not a sensor type door window, it's a motion. And you can see when I choose that, I got only motion names, okay? I've only got motion groups, okay? So I'm never gonna have a mix-up on this thing. So I'm gonna call this my conference room motion detector. Now, these have a nice flat surface. So if you wanted to, put them, sit it on a surface, you could. There we go. If you wanted to sit it on a surface, you could, like on a shelf or something like that. Or you could crack it open and install it with the screws like we showed you, okay? So I've got 2 screws that came with it, okay? We're going to put those in the corners. Let me grab my screwdriver here. And I'm gonna corner mount this. So I always like to start them first before I get it up on the wall. Again, if you've got a drill, this goes a lot faster. But in this case, because I've only got a hand tool, I'm gonna lay this flat. Get that in there so it bites just enough and it's poking out here. Now again, these little holes have a little dot, so it makes it really easy for your screws to get a bite. You don't have to figure it out or wait for it extensively. Whoop. And that happens inevitably. Now obviously you don't want to be doing this on your customer's carpet, but you could do it on a piece of wood, you could do it on a table, and again, if you've got a drill, which you probably will, you won't have to worry about this piece. Ugh. I highly recommend a drill because doing this by hand is a lot more challenging. Okay, so I've got them started. Now we're gonna put it up in our conference room. Now I've got a step ladder, but I'm not gonna worry about that because I've got a chair right here. I'm just gonna go for it. You want it to be up around 7-8 feet, somewhere in that range. This is down in the corner. Imagine all the time you'll save by using a drill instead of your muscles. Okay. Got a place for my motion sensor in my pocket. And let's get this other side. Oh, don't fall out. Not quite level, so I want to make sure I get it nice and level before I get it in there. The last thing you want is an ugly install. Your customer will make you come back and do it over again and patch up any holes you did wrong in the process. All right. Almost there. Almost there. Stay on target. Okay, voila. I take my motion sensor, clip it in the top, push it down and lock it in place, and I'm done. That was fast. 22 minutes, 42 seconds to install a panel on the wall, 3 door window sensors and a motion sensor, and program them all into the panel. Now obviously we haven't accounted for the time it would take you to do a wire, but if you're going to do the table stand kit, that's only a few seconds. It's literally clip, clip, and you're done. So very, very short time. So that'll help spend a lot more time with your customers on your installs. And I would recommend whatever time you think is your target time, focus a lot on training your customer on how to use their system and getting really excited about it. Using the system itself is going to be really easy, right? Arming, disarming, it's all very intuitive, it's very appified. But that number right there, 22 minutes and 42 seconds, is the number to beat. So this is my challenge to you. If you, as an installer, can get your phone out or have someone film you installing a system in less than 22 minutes and 42 seconds, I want you to send me that video. Over the next 30 days, we're going to run a contest, and the person with the fastest install time will get an IQ Classic kit of their very own to install in their own house. Okay? We're putting this challenge out to you to beat us. 22 minutes and 42 seconds. Can you be faster? I hope you can. I want to see if you can. And if you send us the video, we'll put it on our YouTube page to show everyone that you're the king. So please send those in to marketing@qolsys.com. We'll make sure they all get posted on our website and on our YouTube page. If your time is the fastest in the next 30 days, you will win the IQ Classic kit. So thanks very much for watching, and we hope you had a great time.